Hey guys, today we are doing a tutorial for the women's dolman pattern from Lowland Kids. This is a super simple one. I hope you love it. Start by getting your pieces ready. You just need the front and back piece, waistband, cuffs, sleeves. Read your instructions. I guess it depends on what options you want. First of all, we're going to put together the front and back pieces right sides together and sew the shoulder seams at the top. And then while you're at it, take your neckband and you're going to sew it right there where I pointed to make it into a round. And once that's done, then we are going to quarter the neck by putting the seams together and finding the front center, back center, and then putting the pins together front and back to find the two side centers, I guess. It is not where the seams are at because since your neck scoops a little bit lower in the front, it's not where the seams are placed. And then do the same thing with your neckband. And then you're just going to match those up. So I usually put the seam of the neckband in the back. And so I would match that up with my back pin. One thing to be aware of is when you have a pattern like I do that's directional, then you want to look at it like I kept trying to figure out, okay, when I put this on, which way will make sure that the trees are standing up? And so that's what I kept looking at. And what I figured out is when it's folded like this, it needs to already look like it's right side up when you put it in. So then you're going to go ahead and sew it in place. Hopefully you can kind of see, I had my niece filming for me, so she wiggled a little, but hopefully you can see the way I'm just kind of stretching to make it fit. So I go to where my next pin is at, and then I pull on the neckband so that it just makes the neck seam flat, and then I just continue to the next spot. And I just make sure that I have a good hand place before I stop. And then at the end, we're going to go ahead and use like either a top stitch or cover stitch that neck in place. Next, it's time to place the sleeve. We're going to open up the shirt so that it's laying flat. And then I'm finding the center of my sleeve by folding it in half and matching it up to the seam, the shoulder seam. And then I like to stick a pin on either end. And then that's it. And I take it to the machine from there. And then go ahead and pin the other side in place, and then you can go sew it after. So a few things to know about serging or sewing a sleeve. So the sleeve is, they're kind of curving in opposite directions, so it kind of feels awkward, but I just always say pretend like they're straight and make them line up as if they're straight. And so that's where you see me doing a lot of adjusting to just make sure that they're lined up nicely. Also in this sleeve in particular, it should match up perfectly. There shouldn't be any stretching needed, but because it is knits, if it's like not matching up perfectly at the end, it is okay to kind of stretch one or the other, but you don't really want to do any pulling or stretching generally as you sew this. So once that sleeve is in, we're going to sew from wrist all the way down to waist. Go ahead and prep your cuffs as well, fold them in half lengthwise, and then we'll be sewing that down. And we're also going to prep our waistband. I am doing the split hem, and so for this one you just fold it in half and then sew up the sides. And you'll do that for both the front and back. The back should be wider than the front piece, and that's intentional. And then when you turn it right side out, before you do that, you can clip the corner. I actually found later on a different garment that you really don't need to clip this corner if you do a serged hem. I found it to actually poke out just fine, but I always poke out the edge so that it has like nice crisp edge. And then with your cuffs, you're just going to fold them in half. Turn them so that they are both right sides out. And now we are going to quarter them. So I always stick a pin in the seam and then fold in half to find the other side. Do that with both of them, and then do it with the sleeve, like where the wrist goes as well. So you can match them up with either end and stick it in, and then you're gonna sew around it. I did not film myself sewing this part, but it is just similar to like the neckband or anything where you might have to stretch it to fit a bit. And so when you're done, you can turn it right side out and next will be the waistband. So for the split hem, it is so simple. Like, I think it's even easier than the one that goes like it's a regular band. I started with the front piece, and I made sure that the trees were going to be facing the right way, and then put it right sides together. And you go to either side so you can make sure that this goes all the way to the edge and pin it in place, the seam and the edge of the waistband. And do the same thing with the back piece. So I'm flipping it over and I'm putting right sides together once again, and making sure that the front and the back meet up properly, because what you're going to do is take it to your sewing machine and either baste or just stitch for like an inch before and after those ends in place, that they do not shuffle in like when you're serging it or sewing it or anything like that, because that can happen. And so this is a great way to make sure that they stay in place. And then you're just going to serge or sew it all the way around in place, and it should fit perfectly. And here's the end result. Look how cute it turned out for my niece. This is going to be one of her Christmas pajama tops. Love how it came out. It sewed up really quickly, and she helped me make 3 more right after for her sisters and mom. So anyway, I hope you loved it, and tune in again for another tutorial. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Thanks, bye.